The bridge of the MS Steadfast was quiet. Captain Kim Tae stood alone near the main screen, his hands behind his back. He was reading the same message for the 5th time. Each time he read it, his stomach felt heavier. The message came from the Galactic Council. It was simple. It was clear. It was a warning. The Dead Zone has claimed another fleet. The 47th Fleet to enter. 0 survivors. 0 signals. 0 wreckage found. All species are reminded that entry into the Dead Zone is forbidden. There will be no rescue missions. There will be no exceptions. Tae closed his eyes. He knew about the Dead Zone. Everyone did. It was the most feared place in the known galaxy. 3 star systems where nothing worked. Where ships went in and never came out. Where entire civilizations had sent their best warriors, their smartest scientists, their most powerful weapons. And all of them had vanished. The door behind him opened. Lieutenant Park Soo walked in with a tablet in her hand. She was young, but her eyes were sharp. She had served under Tae for 2 years. She knew when something was wrong. "Captain," she said, "you wanted to see the data?" Tae nodded. "Show me." Sue touched her tablet. The main screen changed. It showed a map of the Dead Zone. 3 systems, marked in red. Around them, a border of yellow warning signs. Beyond the border, nothing. Just empty black space. The Veloci Empire sent 200 warships into the zone, Sue said. That was 80 years ago. They never came back. The Myra Collective sent an exploration team of their finest minds. Gone. The Turkan Republic tried to bomb the zone from the outside. Their bombs disappeared before they hit anything. Tae listened. He had heard these stories before. But today, they felt different. What about humans? He asked. Sue paused. We have never sent anyone. The council told us not to. They said we were too young, too weak. They said we would die faster than anyone else. Tae almost smiled. The council always said things like that. Humans had only been in space for 300 years. To the older species, they were children. Foolish. Fragile. Not worth saving. But then Sue said something that changed everything. Captain, there is one more thing. We received a signal this morning. From inside the Dead Zone. Tae turned to look at her. What kind of signal? A distress call. Human. The voice belongs to Dr. Cho Yun. He was part of a secret research mission. His shuttle crossed the border 3 weeks ago. Tae felt his heart beat faster. He's alive? The signal is 3 weeks old. We don't know if he is still alive now. But he was alive when he sent it. Tae walked closer to the screen. He stared at the red zone. 3 weeks. A human had survived inside the Dead Zone for at least 3 weeks. No other species had lasted more than a few hours. The door opened again. This time, a tall alien walked in. His skin was pale blue, and his eyes were large and dark. His name was Kel. He was a Veloci ambassador, assigned to observe human ships. He had been on the Steadfast for 6 months. He did not like humans, but he respected them. Captain Tae, Kel said, I heard about the signal. I came to tell you something. Speak, Tae said. Kel walked forward. His long fingers pressed together. Do not go into the Dead Zone. I know what you are thinking. I can see it in your face. But you must not do this. Tae said nothing. Kel continued. My people lost 200 ships. 200. Our greatest commanders. Our strongest soldiers. They all died screaming. Their last transmissions were filled with madness. They spoke of something eating their minds. Something that lived in the darkness. I know the stories, Tae said. Then you know that no one survives. The zone does not just kill ships. It erases them. It takes everything. Metal, flesh, thought, soul. There is nothing left. Not even dust. Tay turned to face him. But a human survived for 3 weeks. How do you explain that? Kel had no answer. Tay looked at Sue. Call the crew. Everyone. I want them on the bridge in 10 minutes. Sue nodded and left. Kel grabbed Tay's arm. Please, listen to me. Your species is young. You have done amazing things. You have surprised us all. But this is different. The dead zone is not an enemy you can fight. It is not a puzzle you can solve. It is death. Pure and simple. Tay looked at the alien's hand on his arm. Then he looked into his eyes. You lost 200 ships, Tay said. And you gave up. You never went back. You never tried again. You let your people rot in that darkness. Kel's face went pale. We're not like you, Tay said. We don't leave our own behind. He pulled his arm free and walked toward the center of the bridge. The crew began arriving. Engineers, pilots, medics, soldiers. They filled the room and stood at attention. Tay looked at them. These were his people, his family. They trusted him with their lives. You all know about the dead zone, he said. You know what it does. You know what it has done to others. But today, we received a signal. A human signal. One of our own is inside. He might be alive. He might be dead. But either way, we are going to find out. No one moved. No one spoke. But Tay could see it in their eyes. They were afraid. And they were ready. Kel stepped forward one last time. You will die. All of you. Tay smiled. Maybe. But the zone hasn't met us yet. The engines roared to life. The Steadfast turned toward the darkness. And the dead zone waited. The Steadfast crossed the border at midnight. The moment they entered the dead zone, everything changed. The lights flickered. The hum of the engines dropped to a low growl. On the bridge, every screen turned to static for 3 long seconds. Then they came back, but the images were wrong. Numbers jumped. Maps twisted. The ship's computer spoke in broken words that made no sense. Captain Tay gripped the edge of his chair. Report. Chief Engineer Yunho was already running to his station. His fingers moved fast across the controls. His face grew more worried with each passing second. The quantum drive is failing, Ho said. Power levels are dropping. Navigation systems are offline. The AI assistant is not responding. I have never seen anything like this. Tay stood up. Can we fix it? I don't know. Whatever is out there, it's not just blocking our technology. It's eating it. Like something is pulling the energy out of our systems. The ship shook. A deep groan echoed through the walls. It sounded like metal bending. Like the Steadfast itself was in pain. Pilot Cha Jiho called out from his seat. Captain, I'm losing control of the thrusters. The automatic systems are dead. If I don't do something, we'll start spinning. Then do something, Tay said. Jiho took a deep breath. He reached under his console and pulled out a metal lever. It was old. It was simple. It was not connected to any computer. Manual override, Jiho said. The old way. He pulled the lever. The ship steadied. The spinning stopped. Tay looked around the bridge. His crew was scared. He could see it in their eyes. But they were not giving up. Not yet. Listen to me, he said. The computers are failing. The AI's gone. But we are still here. We trained for this. We prepared for this. Every one of you knows how to fly this ship without machines. So that is what we are going to do. He turned to Ho. Shut down all automatic systems. Switch to analog backups. Mechanical controls only. Ho nodded. Yes, Captain. Navigator Beak Hannah pulled out a paper chart from a drawer under her station. She spread it across her desk and began marking their position by hand. "I can navigate using the stars," she said. "If I can see them." She looked out the window. The stars were there, but they looked wrong. They flickered like candles in the wind. Some of them seemed to move when she was not looking directly at them. "The stars are strange," she said. "But I can work with strange." Medic Shin-Nari came running onto the bridge. Her face was pale. She was holding a medical scanner, but it was dark and silent. "Captain," she said, "we have a problem." Kel and the two Myra scientists. They collapsed. Tay followed her to the medical bay. The three aliens lay on beds, their eyes open but empty. Kel's mouth moved, but no words came out. The Myra scientists were shaking, their bodies twitching like they were having bad dreams. "What happened to them?" Tay asked. "I don't know," Nari said. "One moment they were fine. The next, they just fell. Their vital signs are weak. It's like their minds are shutting down." Tay looked at the aliens. He had seen fear before. He had seen pain. But this was different. This was deeper. It was like something had reached inside their heads and turned off the lights. He walked back to the bridge. O was waiting for him with a theory. "Captain, I think I understand what's happening. Whatever is in this place, it doesn't just attack technology. It attacks minds. Organized minds. The aliens have highly structured brains. Their thoughts follow patterns, rules, logic, and humans?" Tay asked. Ho almost smiled. "Human brains are messy, chaotic. We think in circles. We contradict ourselves. We feel things that make no sense. Our minds are noisy." "Noisy?" "Yes, like static on a radio. Whatever is out there, it can't grab onto us. It can't understand us. We are too unpredictable." Tay thought about this. For years, the older species had called humans primitive, emotional, irrational. They said humans would never be truly civilized. They said human minds were too wild. Now, that wildness was keeping them alive. "So we are immune," Tay said. "Not immune, but resistant. The entity, whatever it is, cannot eat what it cannot process." The ship groaned again. Outside the windows, the darkness seemed to grow thicker. Hannah looked up from her chart. "Captain, there is something ahead. Something big." Everyone turned to look. At first, there was nothing. Just black space. But then, slowly, a shape began to appear. It was huge. Larger than any ship. Larger than any station. It moved without sound, without light. And it was coming toward them. Jiho's hands tightened on the manual controls. "What do we do?" Tay watched the shape grow larger. He did not know what it was. He did not know how to fight it. But he knew one thing. "We keep going," he said. "We came here for a reason. We don't stop until we find Cho Yun." The crew looked at him. Then, one by one, they nodded. The Steadfast flew deeper into the dead zone. The darkness wrapped around them like a cold blanket. And somewhere ahead, something ancient waited. It had been alone for a very long time, and it was hungry. The Steadfast emerged from the darkness into a field of broken ships. Thousands of them. Maybe millions. Captain Tay stood at the window and stared. He had seen pictures of space battles. He had seen the remains of old wars. But this was something else. This was not a battle. This was a graveyard. The ships stretched in every direction. Some were small, no bigger than the Steadfast. Others were massive, their hulls cracked open like eggs. Tay recognized some of them. Belosi dreadnoughts with their sharp black wings. Myra Signs vessels with their glowing blue cores, now dark and dead. Ships from the Turkan Republic, their weapons still pointed forward, frozen in place. And there were others. Ships he did not recognize. Ships built in styles he had never seen. Ships from civilizations that had died long before humans walked on Earth. How many? He asked quietly. Navigator Buchanan looked at her paper chart. She had been counting. At least 10,000 visible. Probably more behind them. Captain, some of these ships are very old. The metal has started to break down. They could be millions of years old. Millions of years. Millions of years of ships coming into this place. Millions of years of crews dying in the darkness. And not one of them had ever come back, until now. Lieutenant Park Soo pointed at her scanner. It was working again, but only barely. I'm picking up the distress signal. It's stronger now. The source is 3 kilometers to our left. It looks like a small shuttle crashed on the surface of that large Veloci ship. Tay made his decision fast. Jiho, bring us alongside. Oh, prepare an away team. We're going to that shuttle. 20 minutes later, Tay stood inside the crash shuttle with Yoon Ho and Shin Nari beside him. The shuttle was small, built for one person. The hull was torn. The lights were dead. And in the pilot's seat, strapped in tight, was the body of Dr. Cho Yun. He was dead. His skin was pale and cold. His eyes were closed. But his face looked peaceful. He had not died screaming like the others. He had died quietly. Nari checked his body. He's been dead for about 2 weeks. No injuries. No signs of attack. It looks like his heart just stopped. Tay felt a wave of sadness. They had come so far. They had risked everything. And they were too late. But then Ho found something. Under Yun's seat, there was a small box. Inside the box was a notebook. Paper, handwritten, old. Technology that the dead zone could not destroy. Ho opened the notebook and began to read. The first pages were scientific. Notes, numbers, observations, nothing special. But then the writing changed. It became faster, more urgent. Yun had discovered something. Listen to this, Ho said. He read aloud. Day 12. I understand now. The dead zone is not a natural thing. It was built, created. Millions of years ago, there was a civilization here. They were powerful. More powerful than anything in the galaxy today. And they found something. Something alive. Something that should not exist. Tay leaned closer. Keep reading. They called it the Eater. It was not a creature in the normal sense. It was a consciousness. A mind without a body. It fed on order. On structure. On logic. The more advanced the mind, the more it wanted to consume it. It could not be killed. It could not be stopped. So they did the only thing they could. They built a prison. They trapped the Eater inside these 3 systems. They sealed the borders with technology that would keep it locked away forever. Then they left. And they never came back. Nari looked around the shuttle. So this whole place is a prison? Yes, Ho said. And every ship that comes in becomes food for the thing inside. Tay thought about the thousands of ships outside. The Veloci, the Myra, the Turkin. All those advanced civilizations. All those powerful minds. They had come here thinking they could conquer the darkness. Instead, they had fed it. Ho continued reading. Day 15. I have made another discovery. The Eater cannot consume human minds. Our thoughts are too chaotic, too messy. It tries to grab onto us, but we slip through its fingers. It has been alone in this prison for millions of years. It has eaten every mind that came to it, but it cannot eat us. He turned the page. The final entry. Day 18. I can feel it now. The Eater. It is close. It has noticed me. It knows I am different. It knows it cannot consume me. And I think, for the first time in its long existence, it feels something new. It feels afraid. The notebook ended there. Tay took the notebook from Ho's hands. He looked at Yun's body one last time. He died a hero, Tay said. He gave us the truth. Now we know what we're dealing with. They returned to the Steadfast. On the bridge, Tay shared what they had learned. The crew listened in silence. Some of them looked scared. Some looked angry. But none of them asked to turn back. Pilot Cha Jiho was the first to speak. So this thing has been eating minds for millions of years. And we're the first ones it can eat. That's right, Tay said. Jiho smiled. It was a small smile, but it was real. Good, then let's go say hello. Outside the window, deep in the graveyard of ships, something moved. The darkness shifted. A presence, old and vast, turned its attention toward the small human ship. The Eater had noticed them, and it was curious. The attack came without warning. One moment, the bridge was quiet. The crew was working. Hana was checking the charts. Ho was running numbers. Jiho was guiding the ship through the graveyard. Everything was normal. Then the voices started. They did not come from the speakers. They did not come from outside. They came from inside. Inside their heads. Inside their minds. The voices spoke in languages no one understood. Ancient words from dead civilizations. Screams from crews that had died 1,000,000 years ago. Cold whispers that promised pain and darkness. Nari fell to her knees, her hands pressed against her ears. Make it stop. Make it stop. Sue grabbed the edge of her console, her face twisted in pain. I can hear them, all of them. Everyone who died here. They're all screaming. Captain Tay felt it too. The pressure inside his skull. The weight of 1,000,000 voices trying to push into his thoughts. But he did not fall. He stood tall and gripped the arm of his chair. Fight it, he said through clenched teeth. Don't let it in. The entity was testing them. Tay could feel its curiosity. It had consumed countless minds before. Advanced minds. Logical minds. Easy prey. But these humans were different. They were messy. Confusing. The entity could not simply eat them. So it tried another way. It showed them their pain. Tay suddenly saw his daughter. She was standing in front of him, just as she had looked the last time he saw her. Small. Fragile. Sick. Daddy, she said. Why didn't you save me? Tay's heart broke. She had died 3 years ago. A disease that no medicine could cure. He had held her hand at the end. He had promised her he would see her again. You're not real, he whispered. I died alone, the image said. You were in space. You were always in space. You chose the stars over me. Tears ran down Tay's face. But he did not look away. I loved you. I still love you. And you are not her. You are just a shadow. A trick. The image flickered. Then it was gone. Around him, the others were fighting their own battles. Nari saw every patient she had ever lost. They stood in a circle around her, their dead eyes staring. You failed us, they said. You let us die. Oh heard his father's voice, cold, disappointed. You were never good enough. You will never be good enough. Why do you even try? Jiho saw himself crashing. Over and over. Every mistake he had ever made as a pilot. Every near miss. Every moment of fear. Hana watched her home planet burn. Her family screaming. A memory from childhood that she had tried to forget. Sue felt alone. Completely alone. Lost in darkness with no way out. The entity pushed harder. It wanted them to break. It wanted them to surrender. It had broken billions of minds before. These humans would be no different, but it was wrong. Tay looked at his crew. They were suffering. They were crying, but they were still standing. They were still fighting. He found his voice. Listen to me, he shouted. Don't fight the pain. Don't try to be strong. Just be yourselves. Be angry. Be sad. Be confused. Be human. Jiho heard him. He thought about the vision of himself crashing. Then he laughed, a real laugh, loud and sudden. "That's not how it happened," he said to the darkness. "I didn't crash. I almost crashed. Big difference. I'm still here. You stupid thing." The entity recoiled. Laughter was unexpected. Laughter was chaotic. It could not understand. Hannah started singing. An old song her grandmother used to sing. The words were simple. The melody was soft. But it filled the bridge with something warm. Something human. Ho stood up straight. He thought about his father's voice. Then he smiled. "You're right," he said. "I'm not good enough. I make mistakes all the time. But I'm still the best engineer on this ship. And I'm going to figure out how to beat you." Sue stopped feeling alone. She looked at the crew around her. Her family, her friends. She was not alone. She had never been alone. Nari wiped her tears and faced the ghosts of her patients. "I did my best," she said. "I always did my best. And I'm not done yet." The entity screamed. Not with sound, but with pure frustration. It had eaten gods. It had consumed civilizations. But these small, messy, chaotic creatures would not break. They bent. They cried. They felt pain. But they did not break. For the first time in millions of years, the entity felt something it had forgotten. Captain Tay stepped forward. He spoke directly to the darkness. "You've been alone in here for a very long time, eating everything that came to you, getting fat on logic and order. But you made a mistake. You took someone from us. You made this personal." He pointed at the graveyard outside the window. All those ships, all those civilizations. They came here thinking they could defeat you with power, with technology, with perfect plans. But we're not like them. We don't have perfect plans. We just have each other. And we don't give up. The darkness seemed to shrink. Just a little. Just for a moment. But it was enough. Tay turned to his crew. "We're going to the center of this place. We're going to find the prison's core. And we're going to end this." No one argued. No one hesitated. They had faced their worst fears and survived. Now it was time to fight back. The Steadfast flew deeper into the darkness. And behind them, the entity followed. It was afraid. But it was also angry. And the battle was not over yet. The center of the dead zone was not empty. It was a structure. Ancient. Massive. Built by hands that had turned to dust. Millions of years ago. The Steadfast approached slowly. Captain Tay stood at the window and studied the prison's core. It looked like a sphere made of black metal, floating in the void. Strange symbols covered its surface. Lights pulsed inside it, weak and flickering, like a dying heartbeat. "That's where they sealed it," Lieutenant Park Soo said. "The original prison. The thing that keeps the Eater trapped." Chief Engineer Yoon-ho nodded. "The prison is failing. After millions of years, the power is running out. That's why the entity can reach further now. That's why it's getting stronger." Tay understood. The Eater was still trapped, but barely. If the prison broke completely, the entity would be free. It would spread across the galaxy. It would consume every ordered mind it found. Every computer. Every AI. Every advanced civilization. Nothing would survive. "Can we fix it?" Tay asked. Ho shook his head. "No. The technology is too old. Too strange. We don't understand how it works. Then what do we do?" Ho smiled. It was a tired smile, but there was something else in it. Hope. "We don't fix it," he said. "We break it." Everyone looked at him. "The prison was built by an advanced civilization," Ho explained. "A civilization based on order, logic, perfect patterns. The Eater has been feeding on all the ordered minds that came here. That's what keeps it alive. But what if we gave it something it couldn't eat? What if we filled this place with chaos? Navigator Big Hannah raised an eyebrow. How? Ho walked to his console. Human brainwaves are chaotic. Our thoughts are messy, random. The entity cannot process them. If I could broadcast our brainwave patterns through the ship's remaining power cells, I could create a pulse of pure cognitive noise. It would be like static on a radio, but turned up to maximum. It would flood the prison's core. Pilot Cha Ji-ho grinned. So we're gonna scream at it? With our brains? Something like that. Tae thought about the plan. It was risky. It might not work, but they had no other choice. Do it, he said. The entity attacked again while Ho worked. It threw everything at them. Gravity twisted. The ship spun. The walls seemed to bend and stretch. Hallucinations filled the bridge. Dead aliens walked through the corridors. Voices screamed from every shadow, but the crew held on. They sang songs. They told jokes. They argued about nothing. Medic Shin Nari started a debate about the best food on Earth. Ji-ho insisted it was fried chicken. Hannah said it was noodles. Sue claimed they were both wrong and that nothing was better than fresh fruit. The argument made no sense. It served no purpose. And that was exactly the point. The entity could not understand them. It could not grab onto their thoughts. Every time it tried, they slipped away into something random, something illogical, something beautifully, wonderfully human. Finally, Ho finished. He looked up from his console. Ready, he said. But Captain, there's a problem. The pulse will drain all our power, everything. Life support, engines, weapons. We'll have about 10 minutes of air left after I trigger it. Tae looked at his crew. They looked back at him. Nobody spoke. Nobody needed to. Do it, Tae said. Ho pressed the button. The pulse exploded outward. It was not light. It was not sound. It was something deeper. A wave of pure human chaos. Every random thought. Every confused emotion. Every beautiful contradiction of the human mind. Broadcast at maximum power directly into the heart of the prison. The black sphere cracked. The entity screamed. A real scream this time. One that shook the ship and echoed through space. It had never felt anything like this. Millions of years of order. Millions of years of perfect, consumable logic. And now, suddenly, noise, static, chaos. It could not process it. It could not adapt. It had grown fat and lazy on easy meals. And now it was choking. The prison shattered. The black metal broke apart. The strange symbols went dark. And the entity, weakened and confused, began to fade. Without the ordered minds to feed on, without new fuel, it had nothing. It was starving, and it was dying. The dead zone collapsed. The strange force that had held this region of space in darkness for millions of years simply stopped. Stars appeared. Real stars. Bright and clear. The graveyard of ships began to drift apart. Finally free, the Steadfast floated in the new light. Its systems dead, its crew gasping for air. And then, on the edge of the former dead zone, lights appeared. Ships. Dozens of them. The Galactic Council's observation fleet, sent to watch another human ship die. But the humans were not dead. Ambassador Kel woke up in the medical bay. His mind was clear for the first time since entering the zone. He stumbled to the bridge and saw Captain Tae sitting in his chair, exhausted but alive. Through the window, Kel saw the Council fleet approaching. He saw the stars shining where only darkness had been before. What happened? He asked. Tae smiled. We won. Kel stared at him. Then he walked to the communication console. With shaking hands, he opened a channel to the Council fleet. This is Ambassador Kel of the Veloci Empire. I am aboard the human ship Steadfast. The dead zone is destroyed. The entity is gone. The humans have done what no civilization in history could do. They broke the prison. They killed the unkillable. Silence on the channel. Then a voice, confused and disbelieving. That's impossible. Cal looked at the human crew, tired, broken, but smiling. All of them smiling. No, he said. It's not impossible. It's just human. The council fleet arrived minutes later with supplies and air. The Steadfast was towed to safety. The crew was treated as heroes. News spread across the galaxy. The species that everyone had called young and foolish had done the impossible. And in the place where the dead zone used to be, the stars shone bright. Captain Tay stood alone on the observation deck, looking at those stars. Hana came to stand beside him. What are you thinking about? She asked. Tay thought about Cho Yun. He thought about all the ships in the graveyard. He thought about his daughter. I'm thinking that we're not alone anymore, he said. For millions of years, that thing was trapped in here with all those minds. And now they're free. All of them. Finally at peace. Hana nodded. They stood together in silence, watching the stars. And somewhere in the galaxy, the Veloci ambassador was writing a report. A report that would change how every species viewed humanity forever. The humans broke it, he wrote. They broke the thing that killed gods. And they did it by refusing to be anything other than what they are. Chaotic, emotional, unpredictable, beautifully, impossibly human. The dead zone was gone, and the galaxy would never be the same.